Gammy.
Whoa! Who's this? It sounds like...
I am the director.
Huh?
Technically. So now that you are out of the hinterland, you have arrived in Lagos. You have got to play the part. We are going to school you a little bit about the history, sight and sounds of Lagos. Since this is a musical, here is the songbook about Lagos. No dancing. Guy, this is not that kind of movie. Dance all the time. Reflect. Take it in. Take it all in. Oh yeah, assistant, open the book.
Hi guys, my name is M.I. Abaga, also known as The Guy, and I played the lead character of Gammy.
Yeah, my name is Gammy. Hey!
My name is Shagwa Rinze, and I happen to also be the voice director, aside the fact that I played Dr. Coco in Gammy and the Living Things.
Who's clever and bright, quick-witted and tight?
I'm Joke Silva, and I play in Gammy and the Living Things.
I am Pete Edochie M.O.N. I played the character Wu. It's more or less a father figure in the production. So,
Great wise one, Woo!
My name is Bimba Kintala, and I play the character MD.
My name is Remy Olusmane. I'm a voice actor and a voice director. And in Gammy and the Living Things, I play Oga, the chameleon.
So my name is Mazino Appeal, and for Gammy and the Living Things, I played Adama.
Hello everyone, my name is Lord Frank, and I am a voiceover artist and actor. The character I played in the musical is called The Presence.
You exiled and banished Pamoga with his family. It was just punishment to restore order. Order? Good point.
My name is Mary Jane Ubaja, popularly known as MJ, and I play the character Gussie.
This was such a big honor for me. I was incredibly honored to be asked, and I'm excited, man. Gammy is finally coming to screen.
Well, I just got a call one afternoon, and a lady said she wanted to talk to me about a voiceover. I actually thought it was one of the run-of-the-mill voiceovers, and she said, no, that this is a different thing for animation, and they also needed my help in terms of casting. I said, okay, so you're planning an animated movie? She said, yes. Can I come over to your office? And we agreed. I came, and then I met Mr. Ikem and herself and the rest of the team, and we got talking about Gammy, and then it dawned on me that we were talking about making a movie, and I was going to be involved in casting, and they offered me the role of the voice director, that's to direct everybody in terms of the reading and all that. I said, well, I've done that before, and it was a challenge I was willing to take on. So I took on the challenge, and we started what we'll now call similar long journey, but at the end of the day, you know what to say, the end justifies the means. What I finally saw of Gammy and the Living Things, just extraordinary, just boom, out of the world, and we're ready to fly.
Mr. Chameleon, whatever happened to the charm? Oh, you're in your switch mode, I guess?
I thought it was pretty exciting. It's not often that we do a lot of voice acting in our neck of the woods. It's I like the story. It's a very interesting story. Yes.
nostalgic, yes, that's right. Actually, it did bring back memories of Tales by Moonlight.
Oh,
I was like, okay, this is a new one. Animation. I mean, as an actor, you're used to becoming different characters. But, you know, Nigeria is not, we don't do animation. So I think it was the very first time I was called to do animation. So I was like, okay, I'd really like to see what it looks like. I was a bit worried about the quality of, you know, the product that will be delivered to the public in the end. Because I was like, do we do animation well? But I thought at the same time, because of the story, that it's, you know, something that we should do.
Can't touch this. I'm nifty, nippy, and witty, and I feel drummy. Dum 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 dum.
As I approached, I think I was just in the right place at the right time. Maybe a bit of back history. I think I was supposed to do the sound design, and then somebody says, you know you could do very well as a Dama. And I'm like, okay, great. So I thought it was an honor. Let me just put it shortly.
When I was told, and I recognized the people who are on board, I was like, yeah, it's gonna come through. Let's do it.
You see, not only do trees and plants understand the order of life, animals understand this too. Your domain organizes itself around me on this principle.
To be honest, as a voiceover artist, the majority of work I get in Nigeria is commercials, TVCs, documentaries, and things like that.
I almost cried. I think I shed a tear. I was ecstatic.
Sky looks misty and cloudy.
I was just so excited to be asked to do Gammy, to take part in such a, what I think is a momentous piece of art. What do I mean? It's one of the first feature animation Nigerian films ever, and to be the lead character of that with so many legends, you know, from the film industry was just amazing. Gammy is like most creatives. He has a head full of ideas. He gets very easily disappointed when things don't go his way. And he also is a real dreamer that needed to go through life and learn how to balance, you know, your relationship with people with, you know, the search for your dreams. And very talented, very driven. Reminds me a lot of myself, actually.
Who's clever and bright, quick-witted and tight. He's erudite, sharp, nimble-witted and smart.
When we talk about Dr. Coco was just a crazy, eccentric scientist who felt he was going to merge listening to animals and having animal science and animals with humans communicating, and he wanted to spend a lot of money because the Hinterland University were not also going to give him that the support, so he decided to go the crooked way. And what way again but to go with the redneck, the Agama lizard, and that happened to be Gammy. And so the ordeal, the journey, and the whole thing centered around him looking for Gammy. Gammy also trying to achieve his own dream.
But she's a bit of bossy boots as well. You know, she likes to kind of control everybody. She likes to be in charge of everything, you know. And I found that pretty interesting because I can be like that. Yes.
I loved the range. I love the range. She's a chameleon, she's different people, different, you know, there's character arc, the dynamic within the story.
I was laughing. Check this out. She's a gecko that licks her eyes. That's to keep it moist. That's so gross and at the same time so interesting. And also I like the fact that she had like a strong character. You know, she had principles and all that. So I read the character. I fell in love with the character. For me, that's one of the most important things. Falling in love with a character means that I can be that character. So I fell in love with it.
I thought he was one of the best characters, actually. I actually preferred him to every other person, even from before I thought that I was, or I knew that I was going to be doing his voice. I liked his reserved, wise nature and everything. So it was like very natural. I absolutely liked it. As much as he's a philosopher, I don't think that he would be a complete philosopher without being a fighter. I think they both come together. So at the end of the script, the pre-read of the script, you kind of like put both characteristics for Adama together, and they're inseparable after that. So I would say everything put together is actually one mood and the best mood.
Gussie was a rare species. Gussie was a bird. She's a bird, rather, not was. Was when I was voicing her. She's a bird. I read this lonely person that was in search of who she truly was, in search of people who were just like her. I think that's someone that a lot of us can relate to. Somehow, some way, we're all in search of identity, seeking to be understood and seeking to be just in the company of people that really understand us and feel, how we feel, understand how we feel. And this is Gussie.
You exiled and banished Pamoga with his family. It was just punishment to restore order. Order? Good point.
The character I really like because it's kind of in my wheelhouse. Because I like that, mysterious, deep, heavy, godlike voice kind of texture character. And this was right there. So I fell into it very nicely.
What's this? That's the autopilot knob. What's this other one? That's the eject button for the right seat, and over there is the eject button for the left seat. Oga, stop drilling me, okay? In a moment, we'll be in the hinterland. I need to concentrate on hatching our abduction plan.
Playing Dr. Coco was, how do I put it now? It was fun for me, it was interesting, different from the kind of things you see me play in real life movies. This was I had to do with a lot of my voice, changing voices, inflection and all that, diction, pronunciation, which we all just went through. And we had a lot of fun doing that. We worked with quite a great team of actors who, most of them normal actors, but I had to introduce a lot of them to voiceovers. And, most of them have been asking, when will I ever get the opportunity of doing voices? So when the time was, I had to cast. I had to think of the likes of Joker Silva, Bimbo Akintola, John DeMello. We had to get Bovi in. Of course, they had made up their mind about MI from the get-go, so it was easy to work with MI. And he was really open to learning when we were working. Quite a long haul of work. We did quite a lot in terms of work, but we enjoyed working with each other. And I hope they'll all be proud of what the final production, when they see it.
One of the ways that playing Gammy stretched me was, I think my speaking voice is a little bit lower than Gammy would have probably naturally had. When you look at the character and its idealization, I think I talk a little more deliberately and slower. And it was interesting to put energy and youth into Gammy and like excitement and like curiosity. If you think about a young artist earlier in their career, it's not the same thing as someone that's been through a lot, So I think that's one of the ways that it stretched me. It was very exciting. I had to speak with more energy and speak with probably an upper timbre in my voice. And, that was really, really interesting. It's a totally different experience. And you have to, you always have to start with humility with every, artistic venture. I think that Gammy gave me an opportunity to learn. Thankfully, I had great coaches in the room with me, people that gave a lot of feedback. And one of the let me call it the pleasures of my career was to be voice coached by the legendary Segun Arinze. Just hearing him come up with, would see a line like, how's your day? And how he would say it. How is your day? Just so eloquently. The guy is, man, he's one for the ages, a real legend of the craft, and that was really cool.
I had to be him. I had to respond as he would respond. It wasn't so much about scripting. And one of the interesting things about being a voice director is that when you're on the microphone, you do need somebody to help direct you. Yeah. For which I'm so grateful to the AVOA president, Garinzi. His input, he and Igodan, their input was was fantastic. They made my contribution make sense.
Well, we had to sit down, have a character template, discuss the character, say, this is what this character had, because we had notes for each of the characters. And this time, all animals, aside Dr. Coco, who happened to be human, every other was just animals. Like for instance, I had to fly all the way to Enugu to go record in the studio with Peter Doce, and played Wu. I had to also get the late Sadiq Adaba, may so rest in peace, when he also came to do his own bit. It was just that kind of journey. We had to sit them down, explain this is what you want, and this is the voice inflection, because this time people are not, the camera is not in front of you. You are behind the microphone in the studio, in a room that's soundproof, and so we had to really, really go.
It did not in any way challenge me, so to speak. It was more or less a natural role for me, and I think I enjoyed it. It was very didactic, by the way, so I think I enjoyed it.
I always believe that for our industry, there's nothing that you do, even if it seems as if you're doing it in a silos, as if you're doing it on your own, it's such a collaborative effort. So bringing it to life, yes, you have your interpretation, the various nuances you want to put, into a character, but working with the director and the other people in the studio in bringing the character to life, there's some things that you think to yourself, oh, that sounds exactly as I think it should. But then when the director or somebody else listening say, oh, maybe that inflection is not quite right. So that was fun.
People generally mistake impressions and mimicry for voice acting. They are not the same thing. Mimicry, impressions, you are literally just repeating what you've heard the person you're impersonating say. But for you to use their voice for original things that they've never heard them say, they never said at all, to try and make it your own voice, that itself is voice acting.
For every character that I play, it's an experience, because what you want more than anything else is for people to empathize with the character, for people to identify, with the character. Once that happens, then people will love the character. So for me, every character is just about understanding the character, where they're coming from, where they're going to, their highs and lows in life, what makes them happy, what makes them sad. Once I have that down pat, then I can project a proper character.
So the experience, Adama, from script to reality, I think it was very interesting. So the thing about Adama and every other character in Gammy and the Living Things is the fact that it's not just one person that's responsible for bringing them to life. I think along with that also comes the people who are behind the mic in this case, who direct and also put you through the character, make sure that you are expressing the right character that they want. So it was quite an experience. It was my first time actually bringing such a character to life. Knowing that you have to disembody this person and then try and create another totally different individual, and in this case, an individual that's not necessarily human. So it was quite the experience, and I thought that it was enjoyable.
Yeah, it was a process. We had a voice director there, and we had the script, we had the engineer. Everybody was working together. The voice director, even though we prepared a little bit when we looked over the script as the voice actor, but the voice director was there too, giving us directions of how it should sound, the delivery, and all that stuff. So it was a process.
As like everybody has characters in them. One of my leading philosophies about voice directing is this. Most of the time, you're not really voice acting, you're just remembering people. By the time you are age 10, you've met every type of person there is in the world. Yeah, so guiding them to pick that person that they know, when they remember the person and the voice act, it sounds true. It doesn't sound like they're reading lines. It sounds like they're being present.
In a way, I believe Gammy and I have many connections. I sort of led a team from one place to another. That team didn't stay together throughout. I've been involved in bringing the crew back together over different periods, and still will because we're family. I guess every artist sometimes suffers from the same like tunnel vision, you know, that Gammy has at some points in this story. But also, I love to surround myself with talented people. I think that's another thing Gammy did. I love adventures, and you know, I've overcome a lot to get to where I am today. So I think in many, many ways, you know, art does imitate life in this, and you know, flattering.
We have to find out where exactly. That's your job, boss. Soon, very soon, I will have my day in the sun.
We are both bald. Yeah. We both do not have hair. My industry name coming up was The Reptile. No, for good reasons. I like to do my work really quick, sharp, cold-blooded, you know, not on feeling, but, you know, I'd get it done. Even if the office was on fire, I'll get it done. I'll put the fire out. Oh yes, and I love playing characters. I love doing different voices, accents, all sort of things. Yeah, so yeah, but I'm a chameleon, he's a chameleon. Yeah, that works.
Don't patronize me, libertine. I'm really not interested. My name is Ing.
Ing?
More like
What sort of name is that?
None of your business.
There are times I can be quite a bossy boots, which is exactly what Ing is. You know, she wants to, you know, control. She believes that, you know, she needs to bring everybody in line, and but there's also a very strong sense of responsibility, which I believe that I also have. That sense of responsibility towards other people, towards the colony, and then towards the larger environment, you know. Probably not as much as Ing does, but yes, there are parts of me that I like that.
First of all, I enjoyed it because I have always been a father to a lot of people, and a father figure in most of my productions. And I just slipped into the role, and I think I enjoyed it a
The
lot.
monkey not only defrauded us, he's dumped us off at the slaughter place. If only I could lay my hands on that tail-wagging, smooth-talking ape.
Look at the bright side this morning. We are closer to our dreams than we were this time yesterday. Gammy's got a plan.
Getting worried. Gammy, so what's the plan?
Well, I like to think I'm a principled person as well, because Angie is principled. I also like the fact that she supports others and their dreams. And I think I like to believe I'm such a person as well, you know. And yeah, we do have similarities in that sense.
Besides the mysteriousness and the fact that the presence was like a reminder or a little voice in his head, or the character's head, reminding him of past things, almost like a wise older gentleman, I can say. Yeah, so in that sense, we're similar.
He is wise. I would like to think that I am as well. But regarding the fact that not everybody knew so much about Adama or his hidden past, yeah, I'd like to think that I've got that as well. There's a bit of me that nobody really knows exactly who is Mazino, so I think that would be as far as the similarities go.
Dr. Coco, yes, I enjoy playing Dr. Coco, but nowhere near my person. Nowhere near my person.
Have you seen this lizard?
And who wants to know?
Me.
Curiosity does kill the cat. And the chameleon.
The higher a monkey climbs, the more you see of its behind.
What does that even mean?
Well, go ask the crazy doctor.
I can't be objective. I'm Oga. Objectivity is far from. Oh no. I think Oga and I feel very vain immediately.
Excuse me, that's my character.
Which character now? Help yourself.
Of course, the presence. I mean, what do you think I was doing? No. But Gammy looks good. Gammy looks good. I like what they did with Gammy. Yeah, definitely.
I think Gammy, yes.
All of them catch my eye, but when you say in terms of interest, which one really tickles my fancy, I'd say in this order, Gammy. I like Gammy. Gammy's crazy. Then Oyana. Oyana was mad. Then who again falls in that line? Whoa! Uncle Pete Edochie was just marvelous. Marvelous. And when I went to meet him, when I called him up for the project, he just fell hook, line, sinker for it and liked it. And when we recorded it, it was fine. I had to send him a little clip of him earlier on. And when he said, wow. A lot of them have no experience what animation is like, but they begin to do. And I'm sure before you do, the entire Nollywood will be wanting to do animation. Everybody wants to go animation, but first, Gammy is the flagship.
Of course, Gammy. Of course, Gammy. Gammy's number one.
My heart's root needs some air. It's gasping for some oxygen. My eyes are filled with tears. Beastie, dropping a dreamy. Its salty taste brings brief relief from the pain, yeah. But still the vacancy, no space to live in this day. Lost in the city, I rewrote pain. Block the ground, my walk is still nomadic. All I found.
You know, I think my favorite scenes are the opening sequence. When Gammy is introducing his world, when he's meeting people, you know, there's a lot of sarcasm, there's a lot of the timing had to be right. This is something that we kept working on. You know, when you point up to the top of the tree and talk about the animals there and talk about, you know, it was very, that's where a lot of the work went into just getting that right, you know. And I am excited to see how that all comes together with the animation and the music and, you know, coloring and, you know, storytelling. It's exciting, man. It's exciting.
Ever seen playing Dr. Kogo? Oh yes, I remember, because we had to do so many takes of it. There was one I went Gammy. So what's it? Then we came back. We did the Gammy voice like 3 times. Came back like 3 times to do the voice because we'll listen to it and then we'll come back. There was an overview. We talked about it to send. Even during the lockdown, I was working with Gammy himself, I from home. We were working online, watching on video, and then telling him what to do. He was working in the studios as well. So we did quite a lot of things. But what I enjoyed so much eventually when we came back with the right voices was Gammy, at last, here I've been looking for you. I really enjoyed doing that. It worked perfectly.
The scene at the bridge, when he finally came out in his true colors.
Hey, you can't let bitterness rule over you. We know nothing about your ordeal.
You just don't get it, do you?
There was a very emotional, you know, singing, being emotional and all that. Yes, that was very, very interesting one, especially the time of the fire when, spoiler alert. Knowing it was her fault and carrying that emotion through the voice. That was stretching as a performer, but it was also good. It was a good experience.
Oh, definitely the scene where she was being shot in the air. shot at In the Air. Yes, that was fun because I had to voice the yeah. I liked that. I'm quite playful, so yeah, I really like that.
My favorite scene would be the part where he tells a story about his, growing up, being the old sage fighter and everything. Even if it was in flashback memory style, I think that for me that was one of the best tales within the story.
There's a Gammy in every one of us. There is a Gammy in every single one of us who has that ambition, who says, this is what I want to do and nothing's going to stop me. He just goes all through and you just see his resolute way of saying, I want to achieve this and nothing's going to stop me. He did have all the booby traps, but he tried to overcome all of those challenges. So there's a Gammy in every one of us. And in terms of Dr. Coco, well, you never can tell. In future, I think Nigeria will be showing the way with this animation that actually scientists can begin to research whether we're going to be able to have communication with animals. Whether we would talk to see a lizard and say, hi, come, and comes and stays. It's already happening. When man can communicate with dogs, when man can communicate with chimpanzees, man can communicate with horses. I'm sure you've heard of horse whisperers.
The high sense of responsibility that we all need to have, not only to ourselves, but to to our space.
Chasing your dreams. I chased my dreams. I remember when I told my father I was going to become an actor, he was so confused. My father felt like he had, he had gone wrong with me somehow because he was like, actors don't make money. Actors are not respected. Now it's different. But those days, actors weren't respected. Actors didn't make a lot of money because most of the people who are actors were just people who were so passionate about what they're doing and what they wanted to portray and the messages that they wanted to send to the world. And of course, people like us and everybody else that's enjoying and couldn't be there if it wasn't for them. But at that point in time, my father was like, no way, you can't do this. You can't wreck your life. So I see that, chasing your dreams, because I chased my dreams. And I'm happy it turned out right.
A lot of people suffer from this. Gussie was no different. That's a central theme of the movie, Gammy, in search of identity.
Regarding the political nature of Gammy as well, because there is that sense as well, I think it also gives young people a certain idea or a certain consciousness about it, about politics as well, and how everything kind of like is interwoven into, this one affects that one and that one affects this one, the environment, the politics.
Gammy was an awesome leader because he showed by example that just answer the question, what do you want? And, and he did that.
Some of the themes that really stand out for me in this movie are, number one, following your dreams and your passion, overcoming obstacles to get there, friendship, loyalty, forgiveness, compromise, teamwork. Many times the team would have to come together, listening to advice. I think Wu, the wise head, would give advice and say wise words. There's just so many themes. Also, one of the things that I like to do today is to see a difficult conversation from everyone's perspective. And I think with all the characters, there's an interesting thing that even the people that are doing something bad, they have a motivation and a story behind why, they're acting that way and, seeing the world from different perspectives. So I think it's a very well-rounded project that touches on so many different sides of the human experience, through the eyes, animals as lead character.
It's not necessarily a kid's movie at the end of the day, because I think there's plenty grown-ups can also draw from and apply to life as well.
There's more out there, and there's nothing to fear. Music is my thing, my community. All the daily life in the colony is all static and dreary. Yeah, music is my thing, my community. I need a place where I can show my flow, so that I can flow.
So I was driving in Lagos traffic, bedlam all around me, two straddling kids, and we got talking about lizards. Somehow, right there, we named this character an Agama lizard, Gammy. And I set out to write this story, and voila, we have a concluded project.
The sky looks misty and cloudy. Looks like the rain's gonna fall today.
The idea of using animals to tell this story was, I think it was more improvisation to tell the story in a sort of relevant and meaningful way without the stereotypes, but also trying to get the depth that you would find in the varied human personality types that those characters portray. So yeah, Mickey Mouse, and the whole lot about how animals, come across to depict the human experience. So in Gammy, we have our own sort of totem and a symbol for every neighborhood around Nigeria, and maybe in sub-Saharan Africa, where the redhead and the lizards are replete all over the place. So we thought we could provide a narrative centered around something that is a significant aspect of everyday living visually, but we don't pay much attention to. So that's really what it was for me. Poof. Challenges, tell me about it. I could use 10 adjectives and not describe the experience fully. Yeah, so we talk about challenges. I think it's extremely tough to do one frame, one shot. When you have several run into thousands and thousands, it's really tough. But we signed up for something complex, something that we thought was going to take some time, some endeavor, needed resilience, and we were up for it. And we ensured that whatever challenges that we're presented with, no matter how arduous it seemed, we were always just very nimble and creative enough to just stand up to it and provide solutions. So for us here, we had the option of free software everyone could use on the project. That for us was important to do from a sustainability standpoint, to get everyone into a pipeline that we could sort of predict costs and manage our budget expectations to ensure that we concluded the project. So that was what was predominant on our mind. So we used freely available software. Blender, by the way, you can blend it in.
Triple M is not your everyday fund. We are a community of ordinary people, selflessly helping each other.
I don't think there's any such thing as a dream team. You literally have to create a team, and from wherever we were as far as our skills level, we had to build it into a dream team. One of the things that was really an impairment from the very get-go was the fact that there's a dearth of the skill set that you require to do 3D animation And for the most part, we had to build our capacity internally. Our initial efforts to do some outsourcing didn't end too well. And we actually wanted to produce an all Nigerian production to demonstrate to ourselves that we're capable of handling this project, its length, its complexity, and solve for all the issues that presented themselves. And we did that in a manner that we could, every step of the way, where we had to improvise, we would. Where we had to plan ahead, we did that, and we got all the talents we needed. Some we had to train from scratch. Others had to improve while we were there, and we, at the end of the day, had the perfect team that delivered the project, and we're working with that same team on all our upcoming projects as well.
Gammy was originally conceived to be an African tale with recognizable animals to the general Nigerian and equatorial African child. That's why the use of the Agama lizard, the house wall gecko, the mountain shrew, the hawk, these are all chameleons. These are all animals that are quite memorable to the African child, not a mountain lion or a fox.
In Nigeria, we have a lot of red-haired lizards and stuff. So we kind of like dabbled a little bit into what their world is going to be like, obviously, with African aesthetics, with a lot of African elements in terms of music, in terms of the story direction. And you'll find out when you get to watch it that, there's an interesting mix of modern and old cultures in it.
As the team lead of the animation, I supervise the pipeline, the production pipeline for all the work that comes from the art department. So once the storyboards come to us, we break down the scenes for the riggers, the texturers, the modelers, and then the animation team takes it from there. And then for the finalization before it goes for rendering. We took a bold step in a new direction when making Gammy by venturing into the world of Blender. Blender is an open source software that we'd heard of, but we hadn't really done much with. So we took this as an opportunity to get our legs, have a step in the world of Blender, an open source software. It actually opened our eyes to the possibilities of creating world-class animation. Even though there was a learning curve, eventually we got used to the system, and I think the final product speaks for itself. From the storyboards to the 2D elements to the 3D and the rendering, almost everything was done in Blender.
Okay, I think from the onset, I was tasked with the assignment to come up with the visual presentation of the character will look like, the environments, the props, assets, everything that will make the Gammy project come on screen. Also, for the storyboard, I was tasked with assembling a team that will be able to interpret the scripts when it was ready to an animatic. I'll be able to help the animators do their job.
Basically involves character creation and then, story artist, that will guide the animation.
I personally worked on the After Effects part. So the way it goes is that they have to do the sketching part first. After the sketching, they are going to go to the line art. After going into the line art, they are going to do the coloring and the painting. So after then, they're not going to give it to us, which is the 2D part, the animation part. So you're not going to animate it.
I am a member. I ended the moving department for this animation, and I helped created some characters. I also did the video animation.
I had to wear a lot of art in the Gammy project. First of all, I served as a written artist, then as an animator, and later I worked at backend as a lighting artist on the Gammy project.
I played the role of a 3D animator. I also played the role of shooting video references for my shots assigned to me. I also did modeling and rigging at some point.
My major role on Gammy and the Living Things was 3D animation, and whenever I'm assigned a task which usually comes with animatics, I'll have to review the animatics, then decide maybe to either to get references online or to act the reference myself, do video reference by acting it out. So after that, I animate based on the reference that I get.
I played the role of a 3D generalist / animator on this project, and my role basically involves taking the scripts, a portion of the script that has been assigned to me, and interpreting it and try as much as possible to bring out all the elements that will be needed to bring it into 3D animation. So we basically do video references of ourselves acting, doing the whole performances the characters are going to do, and as much as possible, we try to communicate those personalities into these characters and bring them to life.
At the beginning of the project, after the concept had been done, so I did some modeling of the characters. After we were done with the characters, I also did some parts of the animation. I also did lighting and rendering. So that was towards the end of the project.
Okay, so my role in the movie was actually straightforward. Dance, in terms of character performance, on stage, singing, appealing to the crowd, dancing, choreography. Yeah, basically, I'll do my research on the dances that matches the song. If you hear the song, you know that there's a certain rhythm to the song, so I have to find dances or invent dances that actually work with the scenes. Yeah, so I think in the movie you're going to see a couple of dances from legends like Michael Jackson. I don't know, I don't want to say that out loud, but that's all right. You're going to see that. So basically, I just find references for them, yeah.
Because of how long it took, everybody was kind of like shuffled around a little bit. We discovered ourselves in the process of making the Gammy production. And I, apart from voicing, I also took charge of the rendering process for Gammy and the Living Things.
Like most projects, at some point down the line, some ideas, like some character designs or some visual development elements kind of like inform the story, and then it bounces off. So the script kept changing along the line, and that like took the production back in some ways.
So one of the challenges we encountered was capacity. We didn't initially, when Gammy started, we wanted to make a 2D animation, but we ran into some problem because we weren't able to get that much 2D animators, and these hampered our ability to proceed. So we had to make the decision of having it in 3D, because when we put out a search for animators, we got more of 3D animators than 2D animators.
I am a team. We were trying to get the visualization of the director. So we keep working on it over and over again.
Judging from the fact that animation is male-dominated, working as the only female animator is really challenging, because for a female, you really need to put in extra work to be able to, be seen out there or be noticeable. So that is really challenging.
During the COVID-19, we had to keep working. A couple of us were at the studio, a couple of us were working from home. We had to walk around the clock. Yeah, it wasn't really easy, sleepless nights.
Grammy was fraught with challenges, and thank God we had like an amazing, talented cast and crew that were like responsive to everything. They rose to the challenge and basically catered to every problem that we had. And each problem just gave us new solutions and new methods to explore.
Getting used to Blender.
It's actually my first time using the software, and there's so much you are trying to accomplish with the software. So being a first timer, it's pretty challenging trying to adjust to the tools and as well as executing it, using it to achieve the results you are trying to get in the project.
We face a lot of challenge while making a movie. For example, the software is an open source software, and at that time there wasn't LTS version, that's long-term service version, and we had to depend on update being released all the time. And when new version is being released, it sort of changes the whole lot of dynamics in the scene. We have to rework the entire scene all the time. That was really challenging.
Rendering was taking a whole lot of time. To render like a particular frame can take more than an hour. And so we had to switch to using a real-time rendering, which is Blender EV.
Being that this is our first feature-length movie, and it's also our major foray into Blender, it was more of a learning curve than a smooth process. Many of our artists were not native Blender users. They had to learn Blender on this project, and that comes with its own challenges. Another thing is there are not that many 3D animators in Nigeria. So we had to onboard some, and then we had to do trainings for some, as well as outsource for others. The end result speaks for itself, and I think it's been a wonderful process. And I think everyone who has been through this, who has worked on this show, on any aspect, has actually learned a lot. And I think we can take that to the world.
My favorite scene in the movie would be when Oga turned around from being a bad person from being a bad character to a hero.
My favorite scene in the movie is the fight scene where Adama got into a combat with its red eye, a street scout. It's a pretty dynamic and energetic scene, and there was so much energy and action going on, and I think I just find that particularly interesting.
The scene where we have Oyana and Gammy is my favorite scene, and the reason is that it's full of humor. And I would say the interaction between Gammy and Oyana is funny.
I think most of the scenes with Oga, because of the amazing animations from the animators and then the wonderful voice actor, Olu Timaim, he did a nice job. So he ate up all the scenes, most of the scenes. So
my favorite part in the movie will be when Gammy meets with his team. After I went through the ordeal, after I went to chase fame and all, and he betrayed his old friend, he left his old pack behind. I later found out that he can't do it alone, and without friends, without people around him, he's nothing.
My favorite scene in the movie is a scene where Gammy and Wood, the dwarf goat, are in his library.
It involves a little bit of this, right? And a little bit of, you know how that ends, This. I'll let you find out yourself.
My favorite scene is the scene where we have a job to do. So there is this scene where Dr. Coco is dancing, his plan is going to work, he's going to be able to catch Gammy.
My best scene in Gammy and the Living Things was Music Is My Thing, sung by M.I. Yeah, so it's a really good song. I took my time to do the dance video. It was fun to make. And I had to incorporate a couple of moves from legends, So it was really good and it was fun to make. Yeah, so that's why I like it so much.
My favorite scene has to be the scene with Gami and Angie. That scene, I like that scene so much because of it just speaks a lot about denial because Angie was trying to talk to Gami about life, about the challenges they were facing at home, but Gami's own mindset was completely different. He was just thinking about I wanted to travel to Lagos and I wanted to do some. I don't want to spoil the movie.
I would have chosen the fight scene, but I'm not a fan of violence, so I would go for the dancing that I worked on, which is Under Pressure.
The fight scene, Borini doing the cat duet. What can beat that? I think when we were planning for the shot, we had to reference a few Hong Kong fight scenes, yes, to get the kicks right, to get the punches right, to get all of that right. But that's just me being a boy. But there are quite a few other scenes that I found profound. Like, I think I like the dream scenes. I like the use of mixed media. I like it when Adama was telling his story and when he ended it and just how he ended it, knives drawn, agendas advanced and all that. I think I like that. A sucker for that.
I would go on a whim and say Lami. Now, I have multiple characters I love. No offense, all the characters are great, but Lami, for me, any scene she shows up, she really, you can't take your eyes off the character. Beautiful character design, beautiful acting, and the voice behind it was...
My favorite character is definitely Adama. And the main reason why Adama is my favorite character is just the way he talks. He has this character to him, and you can really, if you really pay attention to most of his scenes, it's quite interesting. He's a very interesting character. His backstory and the things he has been through, up to the point where he met Gammy and the bands. It's a very interesting storyline for me.
My favorite character in the movie is Gammy. I would say Gammy because of his leadership skill, the ability to lead his crew through the ups and downs he faced.
My favorite character was Gammy because Gammy is a red-headed lizard. My favorite color is red.
And my favorite character is Gammy.
I think my favorite character was Adama.
Oga is my best character.
My favorite character in the movie is Gammy, in that he has a purpose, he has a plan.
My favorite character is Oyana. That's the monkey character. He's a very funny guy. I like the way he talks. I like the way he negotiates. And yeah, he's very smart.
My favorite character in Gammy and the Living Things is Adama because Adama is a unique character.
My favorite character in the movie has to be Red Eyes. He has a hard exterior, but he has a soft interior. And over the course of the movie, we see that come out.
My favorite character, again, Adama, I think is Adama would be someone that it's quite interesting because the range of what Adama's stories, narrative as a character can be is quite interesting for me as a writer because we're already working on some background story around Adama and his adventures and just this mountain shrew that knows visual arts, martial arts, and so that for me is an interesting character that you want to have in your universe of storytelling. But there are other quite good and strong characters. I think the lead character, Gammy, easily is one that everyone would love, and I think will be on many t-shirts and school bags and merchandises for years to come. So I like that about Gammy as well. Yeah, so someone once told me that I gave Gammy glasses because I'm bespectacled, but I think not. I think we're just trying to portray a paradox of lizards are meant to have very good vision, especially at night, and we had this guy who couldn't, who was short-sighted, and so that was more of just a paradox.
I think there is a future for African animation on the world stage in terms of storytelling. Generally speaking, what we've had over the years have been stories that simulate an idea of Africa from a Western standpoint, but authentic African stories from Africans is something that I think is a way to open, is a door we can open. Also, in terms of ability to produce, I think the future for animation in Africa, apart from telling African stories, but also a way to let the world know that if you can actually come to Africa and produce your animated content here.
Yeah, we are definitely on the right track, and the future is super bright for us.
Yes, there is. There's a lot of capacity to be built. People need to take the animation aspect of production very seriously, just like the way they respect actors and actresses. We need to start respecting animators also like that.
African content, when you look at the whole, in the history of cinema and the movie making art generally, I think African content will be what I would call the least explored. So there is this recent surge in African content. So, of course, it's like an untapped mine. I think we are just scraping the surface of our storytelling and the mediums.
The animation industry in Africa has a lot of potential, and in the next 5 years, we will see stunning visuals, good stories, great and appealing characters coming out of the African animation industry, which will attract a lot of investors, a lot of people in the world in general.
Yeah, of course. I mean, looking at where we've come from and where we're going to, looking at the production we've done, I think we definitely have the chance to go out there and tell our stories in our own way. From the storyline to dope music, cool graphics, nice dance moves. I mean, take a look at Gammy, man. Look from the quality of the picture and the sound. It's a must-watch for everyone, you know.
Gammy has a great story. It has appealing and great visuals. The soundtrack is good, and Gammy is full of comedy. Is full of a whole lot of things to learn from when it comes to life, when it comes to leadership, when it comes to society. A whole lot of things to learn from Gammy.
It's the first of its. Yeah, I'm among the first of its kind, you know.
It's actually engaging. It's really nice, and also it's a musical movie. So,
well, I could tell you, but would you believe me? I think the only way for you to decide is watching it yourself.
The world is not ready for what's coming. Gammy is an amazing story.
It speaks a lot about courage, speak about facing disappointment, and also, it's a lesson for everyone.
Gammy is an expression of Africa, African talent, African ingenuity, and African resilience. Gammy is also a story that connects with the young one who has a dream in everybody. Also, it's a pretty good animation.
I don't think I like animated musicals, but I think there's something incredibly symbolic and great about music, but not necessarily in movies. So I don't think there was something there for me, prior to doing Gammy, but obviously there was something about the music that we grew up on, and the fact that we thought the entire experience you would find from watching Lion King and any of the old classics, and trying to have an African experience that we could relate to it in terms of just our own narrative was what this was more about. So it was more about telling our own story and using the same world-class tools that everyone has employed. So nothing wrong with having music in a feature-length movie.